Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 2022 Ford Bronco Badlands, and I'm excited to review this car for you today because I like Fords and I like Broncos, so I have a pretty good feeling that I'm gonna like this one. Now, before we start, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Penske Rapid Repair in Santa Ana, California. The general manager of Penske Rapid Repair is a close personal friend of mine, and this happens to be his personal vehicle. He just bought it, and he was kind enough to let me borrow it to do this review. So if you're looking for any window tinting, clear bra, professional detailing, or the new XPEL Stealth Paint Protection Film, Penske Rapid Repair of Santa Ana can fix you up with any of that stuff. There's a link to their website in the description. I think they've tinted 7 of my cars personally, and they've put clear bra on 2 of them. I've always been very happy with their work, so they do come highly recommended. So what we're going to do for you today is a full review on this Bronco Badlands. We're going to talk about the styling and the Easter eggs. We're going to talk about the engine and transmission on this particular car. We're going to measure out the cargo space, have a look at the passenger room. We'll look at the convenience features, the off-roading features, and the safety features. And as ever, if some of that sounds good and some of it sounds boring, check the description below for timestamps. Now we're going to start by talking about the styling on the new Ford Bronco, and I think everybody agrees this car looks fantastic, and it does. It's a great modernized tribute to the original 1966 Bronco. It's a bit bigger than those original Broncos were, but it just looks great. The front headlights in particular, how you have the big round LED running light with the turn signal inset in the middle, that's a tribute to how the front lighting and front grille looked on the original Ford Bronco. The taillights are very similar, that kind of vertical look of the taillight. That's another tribute to the original Ford Bronco. And the whole car, I think, just really looks butch and tough and ready to go off-road, very capable, very rugged, and it's a very practical package. So as far as styling is concerned, I think Ford knocked it out of the park. A couple of the styling features on this particular car are unique to it because there are so many options on the new Bronco line. So this particular Bronco Badlands is finished in carbonized gray metallic. That is the paint color on this car. And it was ordered with the hard carbonized gray top molded in color, as Ford calls it. That was a $695 option. So if you look at this car from the outside, it's relatively monotone. The body and the top almost match. The paint is more metallic than the top is. But if you ordered any other paint color and you ordered this hardtop, the hardtop would still be that carbonized gray color, so you'd have a little bit of color contrast there that doesn't really exist on this particular car because the body is also carbonized gray. And the front bumper on this car was also a factory option. That is the Ford Performance Heavy Duty Modular front bumper. That was a $575 option. So if you're thinking of ordering one of these and you're wondering what it looks like, that's what it looks like. Another styling touch I absolutely love on this new Bronco are the trail sights, which are these little things on the front of the hood. They might look like handles to you, but they're not handles. They're meant to aid visibility from the interior of the vehicle so that you can place the front of it more easily when you're off-roading or probably more likely parking it in a mall parking lot. You can also use them as cargo tie-downs. The maximum load is 150 pounds, but that is a nice functional styling touch on the new Ford Bronco. So let's talk about Easter eggs, and there are a couple of them. On the inside of the door cap, you have 3 little sort of icons of original Ford Broncos along with the body codes that they had, and it says established 1966. That's a tribute to the original Bronco. On the interior of the car, where you go pop the hood and where you hit recirculate to recirculate the air, those are both icons of little Broncos in the front cabin. Of course, you have the obligatory Bronco logo inset into the headlight, and there's also a Bronco logo in the rear cargo area on the control for the dome light for the rear cargo area. There's also a lasso on the cargo tie-down in the rear cargo area. That is meant to be a tribute to the car's sort of equine heritage as well. And my favorite Easter egg on the car, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get a proper shot of it, but in the front fender liner molded into that, it says, "Lift me, baby," because Ford knows people are going to lift these things. Now we're going to talk about the engine and the transmission on this particular Bronco Badlands, and there are several options that you can get here. This particular Bronco Badlands was ordered with the 2.3-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder turbo engine and the 10-speed automatic transmission. Now the 4-cylinder EcoBoost is rated at 275 horsepower and 315 torque on this Bronco if you use regular 87 octane gas. If you step up to the plate and pay for premium like you should, you'll get a full 300 horsepower and 325 torque out of the engine. I love the fact that Ford does this. Every automaker should do this. In theory, any car sold new in the United States since 1996, which would have the OBD2 system, would be capable of this sort of differentiation because it can tell what grade of gasoline was put in it, and it could advance the timing and change other settings to give you more or less power depending on the octane rating. So it's really cool that Ford just does that straight from the factory. I give them respect for that. The 10-speed automatic is flat tow capable. That's something I read on Ford's website that kind of surprised me, at least I didn't know it before. So if you own a giant RV and you want a really cool vehicle to flat tow, a Ford Bronco with a 10-speed automatic will do it for you. Now it's time to measure out the cargo space, so we are going to get our handy dandy laser tape measure and do just that. The length of the rear cargo area from the back to the back of the back seat, 3 feet. The width of the rear cargo area in the new Ford Bronco, 3 feet 7 inches. The height of the cargo area in the new Ford Bronco with the hardtop in place, 3 feet and 4 inches. Of course, that could vary based on which one of the tops you have on or off of the car, but that's what it is with the hardtop in place. The length of the cargo area in the new Ford Bronco with the second row seat folded flat is approximately 6 feet. I say approximately because obviously that could change depending on where you have the front seat set. You do have a bit of a hump, so it's not a flat load floor. So you might not be camping in this thing unless you come up with some kind of a solution to flatten it out yourself. I'm sure somebody will eventually do that. And if you need to lift something into the cargo area of your new Ford Bronco, you'll need to lift it 2 feet and 9 inches. And just for fun, we'll look under the load floor. We have a jack. We have some tools. We have a tow strap. And we have this little bag. I don't know if this was standard or where this came from, but it's got like some straps and some carabiners and stuff in it. And it's obviously very Bronco themed. I like that. And of course, spare tire is kind of hard to miss because it's mounted on the back of the car. Now we're gonna have a look at the passenger room. And for this, I like to use myself. I'm 6'5", so let's see if I can sit behind myself in a new Bronco. So as you can see here, I'm sitting in the front. I have enough knee room. I've got plenty of headroom. I'm comfortable here. And if I hop out, I can sit in the back. Knees aren't quite hitting the seat. Plenty of headroom, sitting up straight, but it's comfortable. Plenty of room in the new Bronco, baby. And I'd like to commend Ford for not cramming a third row seat into this thing, even though they probably could have. Third row seats are played out. You don't need that many kids. Now we're going to start talking about the convenience features, and we'll start in the back seat. Because this is a Bronco Badlands with the mid optional equipment package, it does have a household style power outlet in the back seat. You also get 2 USB ports, one USB-C and one USB-A to charge mobile devices for your backseat passengers. Another notable feature of the backseat area on the Ford Bronco Badlands is the MOLLE system, M-O-L-L-E. It stands for Modular Lightweight Load Carrying Equipment, and it's this sort of waffle grate looking thing on the back seats. It's meant to sort of hook little things onto if you need to carry, I don't know, a coffee mug or a magazine for a firearm, something like that. That's what it's for. I've actually seen this before in the Bronco Sport that I reviewed previously, but the ones on the Bronco Sport were just sort of cloth straps and kind of weird looking. I like this one better. It's a little bit more heavy duty looking. Now we're gonna move up front and start talking about the convenience features up here, and there are some nice ones. Once again, this Bronco Badlands does have the optional mid package, so up front that gives us the dual zone automatic climate control, heated front seats, the Sync 4 system with enhanced voice recognition, which works all right, and a built-in factory navigation system. But annoyingly, this navigation system only comes with a 90-day trial. This car's less than 90 days old, so it still works. If you want to continue using the factory nav after that, you have to pay for Ford's sort of upgraded telematics system. That's a little bit annoying. I don't know how much the telematics costs. I did some Googling on that and couldn't really figure out a straight answer, so I have a feeling that it depends on how long you pay for it and blah, 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 blah. But you do have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto included with the new Ford Bronco, so maybe you don't care about the factory navigation. Personally, it's a feature I like, but you know, whatever. Of course, you have power mirrors, windows, and door locks, but interestingly, it should be noted that the controls for the power windows and the power mirrors are mounted in the center console because the doors are removable on this Bronco. I guess it's easier to put them there. That's a little bit different from most other modern cars, but I like it because it reminds me of an old Saab 900. You do have an 8-inch color LCD screen in the center that shows you various things like your gas gauge, your engine tachometer, and I've complained about screens like this in some recent cars that I've tested because there doesn't seem to be much point for them there, but I think Ford actually did it correctly on this one, because in most other cars, the LCD screen in the center console shows the speedometer. In this Ford, the speedometer is actually analog as it should be, and the LCD screen shows everything else, and you do have some nice pretty graphics that show up in there depending on what settings you're working with or what you're looking at. So I like that screen. I think they did a fantastic job using that. This particular Bronco does have the sort of keyless access system, so you just have the key fob with the push button start, and you can leave the key in your pocket or your purse, walk up, open the door, push the button to lock the doors, etc. So that is a nice convenience feature as well. And on the power point front, we have one USB-C and one USB-A power point underneath the climate controls, and we have a 12-volt power outlet in the center console. So between those and the ones that are in the back seat, you've got plenty of ways to charge your devices in the new Bronco. Now we're going to talk about the off-road features, and because this is a Bronco Badlands, which is the model that Ford's website describes as for extreme off-roading, there are quite a few. The first thing we're going to talk about are the GOAT modes, which are controlled with this little dial right here. So if we look in the screen, we have normal, we have eco, we have slippery, which is going to shift us into four-wheel drive. We have mud and ruts, which is going to make another shift into some other four-wheel drive mode. We have sand, we have Baja, and we have rock crawl, and it's going to want to be in four-wheel drive low for that, which we're not going to do, so we are just going to shift it back into normal mode since we're just normal. Now, the GOAT modes are all fine and good, but really all that is computer software. That changes how the throttle input is read, what the anti-lock braking system is doing, what the transmission is doing, what the traction control is doing, to make the car more effective in those situations. You could put that in a Honda Civic in theory. Of course, it's going to be more effective in this car since we have a full four-wheel drive system, but all that is computer software. It's the hardware that sets this car apart. So down here, we do have the ability to shift into four-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive A for automatic, which allows the car to only power two of the wheels if it feels like that's the right thing to do, and four-wheel drive low for extreme off-roading conditions. If you have one of these cars, never drive it in four low on any kind of a paved road. You only want to do that when you're off-road or in very limited traction conditions, heavy snow or ice. Four-wheel drive low would also be appropriate for that, but you can wreck stuff if you put it in four low and drive it on a paved road, so don't do that. Now, we also have some buttons up here that do some cool stuff. So I can use this one to turn the traction control off. I can use this one to lock the electronic rear differential. I can do that one to lock the electronic front differential. And this one unhooks the front sway bar, which is super cool. So why would you want to disconnect your front stabilizer bar? Well, the front stabilizer bar is literally a bar that goes roughly in between the front wheels, and what it does is it makes the chassis a little bit stiffer so that the cornering is better when you're driving on a paved road that's curved. But when you're off-road, you don't want this because it limits articulation. Articulation is the different heights that the wheels can be at, so if you're trying to drive over a rock when you're off-road, it's better to have that sway bar unhooked so that one wheel can go higher than the other one and safely get over the terrain you're trying to maneuver. Of course, the Bronco Badlands does come with full steel skid plates on the underbelly of it, so this thing really does come from the factory ready to rock and go off-road. This button right here allows one pedal driving off-road, so basically you would just hit the gas to accelerate, and when you take your foot off of the brake, the car will apply the brakes on its own to bring itself to a stop. That can be very handy if you're just trying to inch your way through challenging terrain, if you're off-road going through sand or ruts or whatever it is. Another feature of the Ford Bronco, which is ostensibly for off-roading, but also maybe just for being cool, are the pre-wired auxiliary switches that are up here. What these can do is control various accessories that you can put on the outside of the vehicle, mainly lights. I'm sure there's other things, winches you could hook up to that, all sorts of stuff. There's a wiring diagram in the owner's manual to show you where it goes and what it does. But if you own one of these, that's what all those little accessory ready badges on the outside of the car are talking about. These auxiliary switches, that's what they're ready for. Now let's talk about the safety features, and this particular Bronco Badlands, again, because it has the mid package, does have the Ford Co-Pilot 360 system. This gives us the automatic high beams, the blind spot information system, which is basically blind spot monitors. You have the lane keeping system, and it does give you a nice little graphic on the 8-inch information display right in front of the steering wheel to show you what's going on with the lane keeping system. You have the pre-collision assist with automatic emergency braking. That's obviously a very nice feature, could potentially prevent or lessen the severity of an accident. And you have the rear view camera with the backup assist grid lines. Ford does list that as part of the Co-Pilot 360 package. The rear view camera is federally mandated. They have to put that on all new cars now, but the backup assist grid lines may be the additional option that you get with Co-Pilot 360. Unfortunately, adaptive cruise control is not included with that system. That is an additional option that you'll have to order as a line item. Thank you so much for watching my review of this beautiful Ford Bronco Badlands. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. And if you didn't, please watch one of my other videos. Maybe you'll like it better. But one convenience feature that this car is missing is a telescoping steering wheel. For some reason, the steering wheel tilts. Scratch that, it telescopes. You just have to pull it hard.